Oh my God, I just plugged in a USB for the correct way on the first time. It's going to be a good day.
Buckfutter. Oh, I just thought of that. Because it's from the
I don't know.
90s. That's why.
I don't think I've said buckfutter in so long, and I used to say it a lot.
Dude, that's Celebrity Jeopardy. Right? Wasn't that Sean Connery's?
It was the Sean Connery.
Daryl Hammond and Sean
Daryl
Connery.
Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how I bonded with my freshman year roommate. Took a couple months finding out what we were into, and then we started watching Celebrity Jeopardy, and that was it.
That was his deal. That was sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So 90s. This is a very special episode, you guys.
Very special.
StrangeFam. A lot of you guys in the comments and stuff have been saying you guys should do a draft of 90s products and stuff. So we're listening, okay, you guys? We hear you. We're reading every comment that we get. Don't worry. Maybe if you don't get a response, even if you're not getting a response, we see it all.
Unless it's difficult. Like you'll receive whatever you guys ask, we will do, as long as we don't have to try really hard and we also find it interesting. If you ask for something else outside of those things, you're probably not going to get anything in return. Just a heads up, because we don't.
So for this episode, if you asked for the theme song to be recorded and for Jeff to be able to hear it, you won't get that. Because our little podcast studio is broken here and it's not letting us play live sounds. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the theme song. Wow. Jeff's just going to have to dance to it based off my dancing. So if you're listening to this, I mean, I'll add it in post, obviously, you guys. Hey, you guys in the comments and stuff. I know you guys want to make sure I add this stuff in post, the theme song when you can't hear it. So here you go. Wait. I did mess up. I messed up the not playing of it already.
Oh, my God.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen.
That was terrible singing. Age of convenience.
It's like not remembering the lyrics unless you're hearing the tune. You realize
I don't have the register for this, I think that's what it is. Just not in my range. That's why. That's the problem. So welcome to the episode 25 official strangely familiar draft of all things 90s.
Wow, 25 episodes and someone's still listening.
That'd be wild. I can't imagine. Wow. But this is what's going to bring the people in, 90s so hot like 2 years ago. And we're nothing if not 2 years behind. 20-something years behind.
Yeah. It's important that we realize that this time is now long gone, and this is people like when you heard people in 2003 talk about the 70s growing up, you were like, you are so old and stupid. Yeah. Shut up, you old stupid flake. Like, none of the things you say make any sense anymore. Well, guess what? Now it's our turn to not make any sense, and we should corner people that are like 19, 20 years old and talk to them about stupid stuff and then call them stupid when they don't remember it.
Because now we're like, no, the 90s are cool for me. They're not for you. Okay, you don't get to enjoy this. I get to enjoy this. I get to take all of the fashion, make it bigger and louder than it actually ever was. I get to wear my Nirvana shirt. I get to wear my whatever crisscross. Who knows? I don't want to step on any toes.
I'll be honest with you. I've always had a prideful point of being able to say with the utmost confidence that like our age is the true children of the 90s. Like I was 6, about to be 7, as were you, when 1990 hit. And so thus I was 16, about to be 17 when 2000 hit. So like we are the kids of the 90s. Like we started grade school, like we're hammering it. Like, so we're like that perfect age where we are literally children raised in the culture of the 90s. So like people born in like 88, get out of here. It doesn't count. You're ish. You are a 90s kid ish. But like you didn't really like the 90s were built for us.
Yeah.
And so I'm a gatekeeper with the 90s.
Gatekeeper, yeah.
Well, I'm a gatekeeper.
It's like I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 1998. It's like, I guess you're technically right, but it's, did you grow up? Did you have, so here's the episode. We're going through and we're doing a draft. You probably heard this before. You know how the NFL has a draft. Every sport has a draft. We're going to go through and make picks of things that are what we deem, and we don't know each other's lists, but what we think of as 90s could be products, foods. I've got a few different genres of things that I think are distinctively 90s. So it could be stuff, maybe it still exists today, but if it doesn't, it's not really, it didn't peak. It's not peak right now. Maybe you can find these things in thrift stores or vintage stores, or maybe people have them ironically now. But it's like stuff that to me had an impact for me in the 90s, or it just won't leave my brain for sure. Won't leave my headspace about what it was like to be growing up in the 90s. And it was a great time, I got to say. Things seemed easy, but it's probably because, again, we were kids of the 90s. And
we were kids. We didn't really have a ton of responsibility on our plate.
Nah.
It was to enjoy yourself and go to school. Like, that was it.
Yeah. So we decide one caveat we're going to make is, obviously, we've talked about it multiple times on this program.
We're going to keep talking about it.
Is video games. We're just not, we're not really going to dive into like the Game Boys, the N64s of the world, like, because that was a lot of our 90s. So that was probably our favorite shit from the 90s was video games.
And we're going to probably talk about those like with the live streams and stuff. It's probably going to be pretty heavy video game focused. So how do you draft consoles? How do you draft games within those consoles? So
obviously you would say like N64 was like critical for the 90s. Playing all those WCW games, GoldenEye, Ocarina of Time, Mario 64. There, we've mentioned it. We said the things. I had a Game Boy. It was awesome.
Hey, we brought Super Nintendos on class trips when we were in middle school. Yes, we literally brought it to play in the hotel
adapter. Yeah.
With the 4-player adapter for Bomberman. So like trust me, we could get deep into video games, but we don't want that to take over.
Outside that, we're just going to do a draft. So I'm curious to see like kind of what direction you went with it.
It's a loosely based concept, so I'm sure there will be it'll be all over the place, but let's just get fucking nostalgic.
And I don't even know, like, I have like 20 things listed here. I don't know. We said we'll go until it feels like we're more listing things maybe than we are like actually drafting things. I don't know.
Till we hit that 30-40 minute mark that we're really trying for.
I feel like once we get to a certain point where we're just naming things versus like, because I've heard some of the draft things, like you want it to be a little you want to pick some stuff that you would want the other person to be like, oh, damn, that was on my list. But if we're just getting to things where it's like, oh, I forgot about that.
And it's really hard to do it with this specific category. And maybe we will find out that this is less of a draft and more of just talking about stuff. But the good news is shut up. We'll just make a gooder, better episode with more drafty type stuff. So relax. We have a lot of ideas for drafts. So get off my back.
That's when I would add in a ha ha, but I can't. So.
But the soundboard's not working.
Ha ha. And we're gonna start the draft. This is why I'm really bummed. Outside the theme song, I downloaded the NFL draft chime that I was gonna play. And I'm gonna play it right now for the first pick. But you don't get to hear it. I'll put it in post. Everybody that's listening, also watch this. Check out the YouTube, you guys, or on Spotify. You can watch it on video because we're gonna do some screen sharing and show some of the shit if you don't know what it is. And it'll be like, I can't believe that was real. A lot of I can't believe that was real. So, do you want to flip a coin for first pick?
Do we have a virtual coin to flip to really get people
It's got to
engaged?
be here. Ready? Let me see.
I'm pretty sure if you Google coin flip,
Virtual
there's a website
coin
that's just
flip.
It's the internet.
All
Someone
right.
made that site, and that site
Screen
made
share
them $1 million.
number 1.
Do not share your porn again.
All right.
This is a
Do
family
you want heads
show.
or tails?
Obviously, heads.
Heads. All right.
It's still loading. Your screen's not sharing with me.
Oh, it's not.
So, nope.
Well, it's tails.
Wow,
screen
big
share-
surprise.
Wait, so is none of this stuff working? I feel like something's wrong here with this program. If we can't screen share, this is gonna be. There it is. You can see it now.
Yes, I can see it now.
All right, I'll make it. I'll make it legit.
Okay.
Heads. All right, you can get the first pick.
Good. Now
Fair
the people
enough.
saw it. All right. With the first overall pick in the 90s draft, I'm going for something where everyone's going to know what it is. Certainly kids of the 90s will know what it is.
I do have a top pick, one top pick, so we'll see if it's a...
It's pretty regular. It is... I don't know. It swept the nation, and probably wrongfully so. But it is the beverage of choice of any kid in the 90s, Ecto Cooler.
Dude, it's on the list. No, fuck, that was a good one. That's a good one.
Ecto Cooler. Like,
no, I gotta go back to the board.
Team Matt's got to really figure out their next strategy.
Yeah.
Ecto Cooler was like, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. It was just a high C product. It was a tangerine, like citrusy flavored, like orange heavy, but I think it was orange and tangerine. But like, it was Ghostbusters themed, which Ghostbusters itself wasn't massive to the extent that Ecto Cooler was. I love Ghostbusters, both 1, 2. I even watched the cartoon as a kid, but like the Ecto Cooler with Slimer on it, like it was coveted. It's just a juice box and it's just a flavor, but for some reason, something put it on this top tier and it swept the nation.
Yeah, and it was because it wasn't like Ghostbusters was super hot when it came out, I don't think. Like,
nope.
It had been years since the movie came out, but it was just a high C, yellow high C bottle with Slimer on the front. And to me, there's a couple things on this list that because of this reason, it seemed like a status symbol. Like, we didn't have a lot of money growing up as, early on. So it was like, it seemed like the rich kids had the high C, whereas I had like the BJ's Sunny Delight or something like that. It was like, it was kind of a,
Sips.
I was like, holy shit, those are the haves. Having that was like, it was a big deal. Like, it was cool. It's like, I don't know what kids have now. I wish I could relate. It's probably like wearing a Carhartt t-shirt or something now, as having Ecto Cooler back in the day.
Or Champions.
Yeah, Champions.
Champions clothing now is like elite, and you were ashamed to have the Champion C.
Yeah, it
was
was
like your
scarlet
letter.
That's fun. Yeah. Champions used to be dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ecto Cooler. Great number 1 pick. It was cool. It was traded. It would have been a hot commodity at lunch. Like, if you had an Ecto Cooler, you could probably trade it for a PBJ and a bag of Doritos, something like that.
Oh yeah. Your Primo Hostess cake or something like that. Like,
so a lot of value. Probably also some future considerations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Add into it. Damn, you could trade a whole school lunch. Like, if some kid got free lunch, you trade it all for an Ecto Cooler. The Salisbury steak and ice cream scoop mashed potatoes.
Oh, like cafeteria pizza.
Yeah. All right. Oh, dang.
All right,
that's
man.
good.
What do we got?
So I'm gonna go. That's a great one because that is, I think, authentic. I mean, I don't even know if that exists anymore. Ecto Cooler. If it does, it's got to be repackaged or rebranded and limited.
Well, it's because we've reached that part where our age is now influential in companies, and we are all about 90s nostalgia. So I think we're going to see a bunch of 90s stuff coming back. Probably a lot of stuff we list has already reopened the gates. So no worries, but it does make you think of 90s.
I'm going to go with, to me, this was the coolest thing that when I learned about it in the 90s, when it was, I was like, I have to have this. I think it was a Christmas present for me in the late 90s. And to me, it was the end all be all. This is a tech thing. It's a media thing. It is the CD burner, the rewritable CD drive that you put into the PC. So not only do you have the one CD that you read, but then for Christmas, I got the CD RW. My uncle installed it. So now I had 2 CD drives on the home computer, and I was just copying CDs. There was like not much protection for any CDs. So you'd put in one CD in the main drive and a CDRW, buy them in stacks, like a spindle
Now,
of like 100 CDRWs.
correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there was writables and then rewritables.
Right.
They were
CDRs
actually
and CDRW. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, so CD. Now, was that a different drive? I thought it was,
I
but
think
maybe because
CDRWs you could actually
you had to, because the
rewrite.
drive. I think there was CDRs were a drive that could only write it the first
Mhm.
time too, because like obviously you have to, the drive has to be able to sweep the old stuff, right, and then put on the new.
Mhm.
I don't know that part of technology, but I'm pretty sure certain drives could only write and certain drives could only rewrite, if I'm remembering
Yeah, I had a
correctly. You also,
rewritable
I had
for
to have the
sure.
proper disc. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have one at home. I think my computer at college had one.
But it was such a big deal to be able to, well, CDs were already a big deal, but then, coming off the age of recording songs off the radio, and then just being, oh, you got that CD? Yeah, let me get on that. Let me let me just, can I borrow your CD book? I'm gonna rip through this for the whole weekend and steal all your CDs, basically. Well, not steal because you get them back, but I'm gonna steal it. Or by making a mix. Once you can make the mix, start, because then you could rip music from CDs and then make your own mix. So I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna make my own whatever Metallica mix CD. I'm gonna make my own let me do a little mashup of Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden here.
What? You
Put
can't
that
do
together.
that. They never
Yeah,
had a split.
I had this cousin or second cousin who had like all the super metal CDs, like the really nerdy metal, like Queensryche and like all that Halloween,
like prog metal, like
yeah,
Dream Theater,
all that Dream
Halloween.
Theater,
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, let me burn all these and never listen to them, but I just gotta have them. Let me get this fat magic marker and write.
Yep,
Then I
wanna
got
label
into,
it
I
so
really got
that's-
into, label printing. It's a great way to use way too much ink for not the value that it really is. But yeah, CD rewritables, huge. I mean, because I had those CDs for, honestly, the thing, I don't know if I brought it up, but when I moved from Austin, I had a garage sale and I still had my CD books that started in the 90s of rewritables, of imports, of like all kinds of CDs, multiple CD books, and I sold them all for $5.
Wow.
Yeah, I
So
couldn't believe
that
myself.
person,
I just never used them.
that person cashed out. Like they were just like, "Yo, this is the best," because I know this dude wants nothing to do with these if they're for sale. But like, dude, remember like the CD binders literally looked like a set of encyclopedias, not even one encyclopedia. Like the massive CD binders were like, honestly, when closed and zipped up, they were literally almost, you could find ones that were almost a foot thick. Just massive binders. It's like, now congrats, you can hold 312 of your favorite CDs in your car. Like,
Yeah,
I had the massive binder and I had dual visor
CD holders,
visor slots. Yeah. Like,
dude, you were the king of mixed CDs in your Toyota Camry or whatever you had.
Yeah, it was the Camry. Yeah.
I remember if you had to ride in the passenger seat, your feet had to compete with the CD book down there at the floor, right?
Yes,
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep. That's a good one, man. I didn't even have that on my list, but that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Cause yeah, we didn't have one, but like my brother Brian, when he went away to college, he had one. And so I would ask him to make me CDs before he came home for like breaks and stuff. And it's funny you had already mentioned it. My first CD I asked him to make me was a Metallica mix.
Yep. And I actually used it so going into college, I would still use it. I was like such a scammer on like eBay. So I had like the early years of like the NES emulators and Sega emulators.
Yeah.
I would put them onto CDs and sell them on eBay. I'd make like mix live CDs of like different bands and sell them on eBay until my account got suspended. I was like,
wait,
I had a little business going on.
Now, was your account suspended because you were selling copyrighted stuff that you didn't have rights to? Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, so
That's
people
right.
knew what they were buying.
Yeah.
Like they were content with their transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, once so in our age group, it was like you went from dial-up at home to like a T1 line in college, and the world opened to you because not only did you have T1 lines, you had computer nerds telling you like, "Yo, this is where I can get this. This is where I can get this," and you're just like, "Oh, the internet has changed for me." Like very quickly, going to college changed the internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. All right, round 2. All right. This one's been pretty tough, but I think I got to go with another one that was a staple of childhood. This one might be, I don't know. I don't know what this one's
nervous.
going to feel like.
The war room sweating over here.
Yeah. Right. So this would be an activity. Definitely could rage. There were many, imposters, but only one true champion. Like you say, there's always in 90s, there was always the Thing and then bootleg versions of the Thing. This is the ultimate way to keep cool in the summer, and that is to engage in combat with super soakers.
Oh, that's a good one. Not on the
super
list.
soaker water guns.
That is great.
And I'm talking about the originals. There were like some pistols. I think they were Super Soaker 40s. And then you got into more of the rifles that were like 80 and 100. And then I remember there was the Super Soaker 200 that came out that had like the little the pressure chamber on top. That was like, yes, now I can really blast kids and hopefully
it
hit
basically
them right
turned
in the
into
flamethrowers. And then there was the ultimate one that had the backpack that was just more of like a pump cannon. You literally looked like, throwing back to pick one, it looked more of like a proton pack from the Ghostbusters. Like you slugged it over your back, asked people to top you off, and then just raged in. You were like the guy with the flamethrower version. But Super Soaker battles were awesome. It was fun. It was a really interesting, like, give me a Super Soaker battle probably more than playing in a pool when I was growing up, just because it was kind of like a dual activity. You were cooling off. You didn't mind getting shot. So like you were a winner or a loser. It didn't matter. If you got shot, you're like, oh, bummer, I got shot. But you're like, that's refreshing. So Super Soakers were legit.
It was basically Super Soakers and then water guns that didn't work. That was it. You had your choice. Because those other water guns were so terrible. They'd break after like 4 minutes. Water guns
from the 80s, they were like those clear plastic colored ones that you tipped upside down and tried filling up. They were a pain to fill up. The plugs
You'd have to drop water in. Bloop, bloop, because if it was coming too fast, even like moderately fast, they wouldn't fill into the little...
Super Soakers, you have a tube and you can blast it from the hose. So these little ones. And then you were like, if you were lucky, they contained like 6 squirts and maybe could go 8 feet at best.
These two, you had to like... Yep. You had to like really press on it. Yeah, no, so Super Soaker was a big deal. I think now they're like water gun technology is insane now because I think there's almost like sniper rifle things where like kind of like I gotta pop, like there's guns like that I've seen on Instagram now. That like I think they genuinely hurt. They're almost like airsoft guns with water, how it shoots it out.
But do kids use them, or is it people our age being like, yo, these are so fun?
Yeah, you just fuck with your kids. You know, it's got like the hose in the pool, so you just get it. You know, you just got like unlimited ammo kind of thing. It's just something to really make your kids cry for a little bit and then be like, stop being a little bitch.
No, we're having fun. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice. Very 90s. I like it. Geez, this is tough. Who do we want to go with? We've got technology covered. Let's get something on our bodies here. Let's go with something that I thought, again, was a status symbol, was expensive. I had knockoffs.
I know where you're. I think I know where you're going with this.
All right, they were cool as shit. I don't know why they don't exist now, except for the fact that I think they pretty much never worked, or they did after for 1 month. And those are the Reebok Pumps.
Oh, okay. No, you did not go with what I thought. I thought I was going to get one taken off my list.
All right. I do have some other clothes, but this to me, it was like the orange, the little basketball hoop or the little basketball on the tongue, press it, pump up those shoes, baby. Get the air pockets filled up around your shoes. Let me see. I really don't want to blow this stream up make it not work, but
so my iconic. I didn't have them. I didn't have them, but my brother Dave did. He had a pair of pumps one year. Um, I was pretty young, so I'm not sure. Like, I think I would when he's not wearing them, I'd go over and be like pump, 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 psst, and then let it go. So yeah, it was weird. So I guess the idea is that they could fit a little bit tighter if you wanted to. Like if you were balling and you need to go heavy to the rim. I'm using terms weird, but you stopped, you put the ball down, you pump up your shoes, you call timeout, you pump up your shoes for the big play, and then you call time in, and then you go dunk. I assume that's exactly how it all worked. So yeah,
Yeah, these are like the
look at
iconic
those
ones. The
jams.
black with the so the D Brown, $400 now that you can get.
Okay,
Um,
okay, wow.
uh,
Yeah, I
look at
think
those.
Dave's were like white, blue, and orange or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they always pop. That was the issue. Like the tech. I mean, they're playing with technology that was beyond them. Really, it was just we had it.
Yeah,
And what can we do it? We didn't know. It's the
yeah, they were living in
um,
2090.
they
Yeah,
they they were just wondering if they could, and they never stopped to think if they should. But they were they were cool as shit. In movies, commercials, NBA players. I wasn't even a huge NBA fan at all, but these are so cool. I definitely got the Payless knockoffs. I liked wearing them. They felt cool. They had like a little release valve on the side, so it's like,
yeah,
okay, I'm done. I'm done with my extreme athleticism. Let me cool off here. They did
right.
hurt, honestly. If you pumped them up, it was
It
like way insanely too tight.
because Nike had the entire Jordan campaign, and that was that's the thing Reebok had in the 90s. They're like, yeah,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
our shoes pump. And
That's
then
right.
LA Gear's like, we got gills on our shoes. Who wants them?
We got gills and 2 sets of laces.
And LA was it LA Gear
British
Knights?
Knights.
British Knights. What? I don't
Didn't
remember
they have the
who
light
had the
up? Were they the
first.
first with the light
I
ups?
don't know who did the first light ups. Was it British Knights?
I
BK
feel that's my
Knights?
memory, but I don't know. Could have been LA Gear.
Maybe. Yeah. Either
Yeah.
way, those things they existed. I don't think they got the swag that people thought, but the
Mm-hmm.
pump did. The pump was a legit contender. Um, Alas, we are not wearing pumps today, but people are still paying ungodly amounts for Jordans. So we'll give that W to Nike. But the
Yep.
pumps were definitely a staple of the 90s. I'm going to go fashion too. Let's go back to back fashion because in reality, that's probably going to stop there. But I'm going to go with fashion with I thought you were going to take off my board. So now this is the scramble for the makeup. This is the person who you just drafted your first QB and now people are scrambling for QBs.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's gonna be a trend on QBs.
this is one where I don't know that it was a status symbol because I think they were pretty well worn around by everyone. But it mattered the color. It didn't matter necessarily if you were getting your, a team, but it was the color scheme because it popped. And nothing better than a nice
yeah.
big kangaroo pouch for you to carry all your things. You don't
Yep.
need a fanny
Good
pack.
one. Good
Fanny
one.
packs are big, but you don't need one if you're
I'm
wearing
already
a
typing it. I know where
starter
you're going.
jacket.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
starter jacket. What a piece of swag. Now, I think the most popular were probably the Lakers or them beautiful, no better color scheme for the 90s than the Charlotte Hornets with their turquoise and teal.
That was huge.
What
Charlotte was huge.
what a combo in the 90s. We had soft drink bottles or soft drink cups that were purple and teal that everyone knows, the little crayon scribble. But yeah, a starter jacket was legit. They were big and poofy. I don't know. I don't recall if they were warm or not, but I had a Raiders jacket, and I'm pretty sure my brother Dave had a Bulls one. But I can't recall entirely. But
Bulls
those
was
things
cool
were
for
rad.
sure. Obviously, all Bulls
Yeah,
merch. The red and the black was huge.
100%.
That's why I think Blackhawks ones were huge. The red and the black, Chicago. I had a Bruins.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's cold out there. Better put your coat on. Okay. Put it over my head.
Oh my God,
so
I know.
impractical.
It was like playing the parachute game in elementary school. You could invite a couple friends to come into your starter jacket with you. That thing was so poofy. I feel like it was the outside was plasticky, but it still got you soaked if you were in the rain. Like almost it defied science with impracticality. But that massive paunch on the front. Like, I mean, it was big and bulky, but shit, that thing was fashionable. So
Yeah,
had
and
to
all
grab it.
the everyone I had, like the zippers ended up melted because you'd be out in the snow with it, and then you put it in the dryer, and it would just melt
Oops.
the zippers and the yeah. But that's the way it was. We didn't have anything better.
Yeah.
There
It's the
was no
risk you
such thing
took.
as a functional winter coat back then. You had to get the $150 starter jacket. Yeah, starter jacket, good one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you want to be fashionable, or do you want to look like a nerd with something functional?
Mm-hmm. I'll stay. I got a few other fashion things. We'll say. I just want to go a different genre
Okay.
here. I will stick with the feet, though. Go with one of
That's
my
weird.
favorite things from the 90s. Rollerblades.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Now
yeah. I
that,
loved rollerblades.
see,
Rollerblading was the funnest thing to ever do, and it just got hijacked by bullies. Real quick. It was like, oh,
now,
man.
now that is
It was
clear.
so,
I mean, hockey kids
yeah.
are like, you mean
Oh,
I can hockey it up in the summer? So non-hockey people way less likely to get rollerblades. However, being the trendsetter guy that he was of our family, my brother Dave definitely had rollerblades.
mhm.
I could barely function on my feet. I did not opt for rollerblades.
Yeah, so we were like the pickleball of the 90s in that we would hijack the tennis courts on our rollerblades and play hockey. So we would go to like Lincoln Park, it was called, in Auburn. Just people used to play tennis there too. We would just show up at the nets real early, skate over with our nets and like plastic goalie equipment. We get a game, people would come up and just be so mad. It's like, you're not gonna, who wants to fight the rollerblade gang? Nobody.
Absolutely
But it
no
was
one. That's why the kids from D2 got to go through the Mall of America on their rollerblades.
oh, that's right.
Hooligans.
Classic rollerblade
Yeah.
scene. But just they're just so fun. During pandemic, I almost bought myself some rollerblades just because I was like, I don't have, I should have, but I probably would have used them once or twice. They're not easy on like the road or the regular pavement. All those little pebbles and stones make rollerblading pretty difficult. So you kind of need a dedicated track, which makes it difficult. But yeah, just super fun. Obviously, playing hockey, everybody had them on the team. That people that was like exercise. People would after jogging, rollerblading became like a really hot cardio workout.
Question: did you rock knee pads, elbow pads, helmet?
None of the
Wow.
above.
Wow. What a rebel.
I
Follow
knew
up
how to
question.
skate, so yeah,
Follow up
yeah.
question. Were they allowed in like roller skating rinks?
They were.
Why do I feel
So
they were?
I would
Okay,
bring my own rollerblades to Riva Rollerdrome. Like if we had a skating
right.
party.
For like skating parties.
Yeah. That's the thing in the
Wow.
90s. So Riva Rollerdrome, RIP. I think ours would be like an elementary school would be like what was it, like K through 2 and then 3 through 5 would have their nights at the Rollerdrome.
Yeah.
You could rent roller skates, or if you were cool. I mean, these were fucking cool. If you brought rollerblades, because roller skates
Yeah.
were out. Those were a thing of the past, all right?
Well,
rollerblades are in.
that was your real moment to shine. So like while you might be cool and feel cool while you're doing it at the tennis court, that's your moment to shine because that's the upgrade, right? Like you are now in a roller skating based setting. There is no more appropriate place to shine than rolling up with your roller blades when a bunch of people have their 2x2 skates and are shuffling around turns and looking awkward. And then rollerblade guy shows up, inline skates, and spinning around
feel
and
the movement.
doing, like
the
flow. So much fluidity. Whereas everyone else is janky. I'm out there with locked skates, which just are really awkward boots on wheels. So like,
and the front brake.
Yeah, dude. Oh man,
front brake on the roller
brake.
skates.
Like, man, good for you. I'm happy for you. Like I probably did one trip around the rink and then I'm like, I'm gonna go play Ninja Turtles. Like, I'm gonna go play Turtles in the arcade.
I think roller skates have had their renaissance though in the last few years. They're cool again.
Really?
There's even like in Austin, we had like a roller derby league. It was like I mean, it was like, I think it was all female, but hardcore. So like all the tatted women of Austin,
Okay.
basically going head to head, doing some roller derby. Like I had friends that bought roller skates. Would just go to like the basketball court,
Mm-hmm.
learn how
Mm-hmm.
to roller skate again. Cool styles too,
Okay.
vintage. Rollerblades haven't really had that. I mean, people get them, but I think there's still a stigma to rollerblading. And they were so cool because the 90s X Games was popping. The first X Games, 95, 96, like vert, rollerblading, street rollerblading. That was a thing.
I was gonna say
Um,
there was
mhm.
roller like inline skate like actual competition, right?
Yep. Aggressive inline is the term you're looking for.
Wow, that's not
Yeah.
a term I'm looking for because I'll never
Big
use
deal.
it
Big deal.
again.
Yeah.
Aggressive inline is the term. That's
Yeah.
fine. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. We are sponsored by Rollerblades, but remember, folks, it is not a rollerblade. That is a brand. It is inline skating. So I don't know if
That's true. Yeah.
Matt's getting paid off by the folks at Rollerblade,
Hashtag
but
ad.
yeah. All right. That's athletic. I'm gonna go for non-athletic. I'm gonna go for let's get into the kitchen. All right. So I've already done a drink, but this is more food based. So as we can tell, we've already mentioned, Michael Jordan and the importance of sponsorship. And folks, I'm gonna go with something that I used hundreds of times, and really for anyone, not only people on the
Yeah.
go, but really for anyone transitioning to adulthood and being out on your own and having to make meals for yourself. Like, how do I
I still
even
have
do
it.
this? What you do is
It's
you
on my
plug in your handy dandy George Foreman grill,
Yeah, that's
and
a
you
good
just
one.
throw some sort of
That's
meat
a good
product
one.
on there, and you slam her down, and there's no timers. There's no temp measures. You just open it up and go, I got some grill lines, and it's probably cooked in the middle for how long I've had it. It's done. It's warm. It's delightful. And I know that I'm being healthy because I got a little tray under that caught some fat and maybe
Hmm.
some water.
Yeah, you don't want that
So,
fat. Ooh,
yeah.
who likes
So let's
fat on their burger?
angle this
Yeah.
grill and let's milk all the fat out of that burger. So you have a nice, dry,
Yeah.
incapable food item.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
you could cook chicken on it. You're cross
Yeah.
contaminating. You don't care. You're 18. You have no idea how to fend for
Hmm.
yourself. So the George Foreman grill
Yeah, a little chicken
is who
breast
I'm
and
drafting.
a BLT right on the same grill. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't worry about it. Bacon, no problem. Ham steaks, you got it. Like
Yep.
I am cooking everything on that bad boy.
I have one in my house right now because my
Mm-hmm.
mom had it when we moved back here. She's like, "Do you want this?" And I was like, "I do.
I
I do
do.
want that." And it's the deluxe version, so it does have temperature control. It goes from low
Whoa.
to high, but every time you look something up, it just
Low
says "put it on
temperature
high."
control, low to high.
All it is you just put everything on high.
It has temperature. It has temperature control. Both temperatures are available.
But you're right, because it came out in the 90s, so it was perfect timing for when we went to college.
Yeah.
In the Y2K era, everybody had it was like, "Are you bringing the George Foreman, or do I have one? I have a small one. Do you have?" Or I have like a double size one. It's like, holy shit! Wow,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah, man.
And I'm
Those
pretty
things.
sure
I
they
mean,
were
I use
illegal.
them. Yes,
in every
that
dorm, but everybody had it, yeah.
colleges quickly ruled those out. They were like this. They were the kind of like the second coming of the microwave for colleges, where they're like, the fuck you are going to have that, and they're like, we'll monitor your wattage and stuff, but you whatever, you hid it under your bed.
Mhm.
You pulled it out when you were in a pinch. You're like, I need a grilled cheese, and guess what, I can't make a grilled cheese in this hot pot, so I am going to go
The
and
hot
plug in the
pot, oh, yeah.
George.
Yeah.
And because the hot pot, they're like, well, you can have hot pots for what? Oh, cocoa and rice. I'm like, cocoa and rice? Oh, ramen. I don't eat ramen. So I brought my George Foreman. But yeah, I used it for years after the fact, because even if listen, it was easy cleanup for like burgers and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to cook on like the stovetop. I don't have a grill. I'm like, I just want a couple burgers and I want it to be easy. And like that George Foreman was great in a pinch. And you know how much money George Foreman made from those things? So I'll give you a little,
Probably more than
I'll let you
boxing,
know.
right? Oh,
vastly more.
Yeah.
At the beginning when they got him on, and I think it was like 94 when they started selling them, he made 40% of the profits that would be brought in on each grill.
What
He
a
got 40% of the profits. And then it was getting so out of hand that in 1999, they bought him out for his name and likeness for $138 million. That was the buyout after he had been making 5 years of 40% on every grill.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
So
for
George
him.
Foreman probably made $250 million in 1990s dollars from that grill.
I always remember because like he would do the infomercials or the commercials, and he had an apron on, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you want to put your chicken onto here?" And
Yep,
then
it's a
always some
knockout.
old white lady selling it from QVC, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh George, we're just best friends. Thanks for helping me be healthy."
He's
It's
like,
like
this
just
is the knockout
super lame.
punch. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's using boxing terms. He's a boxer. I get it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Knockout trans fats. You could do that in the 90s.
Yeah.
Geez, I got a few things that I like here. Let's go with another status thing. We're taking it back into school. Some not really necessary, but if you had it, it was, I'm a person of means. My parents are anyway, or I just cry until I get my way so I can have this. How else am I going to keep organized? My Trapper Keeper. The Trapper Keeper, the coolest binder you'll ever find in the world. I remember I had it the first year I got it. It had a bear on it, and it looked like it was shredding through the binder, so coming through. But essentially, it was just a binder. When it was closed, a flap came up and around the Velcro, and it kept everything in there, So it was like super cool.
I don't care how loose this loose leaf paper is; it's not escaping.
Yeah, I'll take the 10 minutes to share the screen so we can see it here in a second. But yeah, I mean, I guess we would use. Rarely did you ever actually need a binder in school. I feel like you have loose leaf. You could get the cheap 50-cent binders. Maybe you'd put your folders in there. Things got real serious when 5-Star First Gear came out. I feel like that was like the REI version of notebooks and binders. That kind of stuff was like real rugged. You could drop it, spill stuff on it.
The material for the covers of a 5-star notebook, you're like, this thing's indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. Yeah, it was destructible. I destructed it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, look at those dope Trapper Keepers. That's a shot. Look at that. Look at that 90s ska checkerboard on there. They knew what was up.
Yeah, they don't have my aggro bear.
I did not.
This fucking seal. This was. Right. I remember seeing that at like.
There's literally like a puppy sea lion or a seal on there. Now
a lot of Lisa Frank.
I wouldn't be surprised if that came in a combo pack and the other one had the picture of Seal, the majestic singer songwriter, on one. I would take that Trapper Keeper. Yeah, like Lisa Frank was a
obligatory
was a
Lisa Frank shout out. Yeah.
Yep. I don't think I had Trapper Keepers other than just the folders. I wasn't cool enough to have the binder itself. My binders were pretty low key, but if my mom came home with those like generic colored like paper folders where the folder itself was made out of non-glossy paper, I'm like, I'm not using this. I'm like, I will not use this. This is not fair to me. You need to spend the extra 30 cents to give me one of those like more nice spill cover, like the ones that you can spill something on it once and very briefly.
It did have like a vinyl cover or something on it that
like I can't be seen in this with this, Mom. I need a little bit more prestigious folder. So
you could drop it. Nobody. I mean, it was a big deal. I would say when I got it, I think I had to talk my mom into it, or maybe we came into a little more money. I don't know what it was.
Sure.
Maybe just rang up the credit card for it because it was probably like $5 or something in the 90s. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. When you could get
I was a good student. I needed it.
When you get $1 binder and these are going to cost you $5. I mean, if Mr. Patterson's telling me I need to buy a binder and 17 other things.
Could we do a quick digression on Mr. Patterson's English classes where he made you have a binder, but it had to be like a 3-inch and everything.
Oh my God.
Part of your grade
legit
was your binder. Like you would,
remember, you had to have the loose leaf hole sticker protectors.
Mm-hmm.
He made you buy that.
You had to have a 3-hole punch in your binder. You had to have
a
bag that
pouch,
included
a bag for your binder. Yep.
A 3-hole pouch. So it had your what? I don't even know what else he made.
I don't remember what
pencil,
are things he required that we had in it.
A pencil sharpener, probably like, yeah, and it had to be, yeah, because that was back in the day when you used to have to write papers by writing them.
Right.
Don't you really enjoy? Hey, what we're gonna do today in class is you're gonna write an essay, like a 3-page essay. But first, we're gonna write a draft, and then you're gonna need to rewrite it in a final copy on a white sheet of paper.
Yeah, in pen. It was just, your draft will be on this weird yellow see-through paper in pencil.
So remember to skip lines.
Yep, and I'll tell you how poorly you did.
That's great punishment if you're a teacher. It's like, I want them to be in pain today. I want their hands to be in utter pain. So we're going to do your rough draft, and then we're going to do the final.
You don't know
you're going to write for 8 hours today.
You don't know hand pain unless you're a lefty forced to write in cursive. That is true. Literally cruel and unusual punishment.
Oh my God.
That is corporal punishment. And
this might be the first mention of you being a lefty on the pod.
Educational systems in America should be ashamed of themselves to make people, left-handed people, write, let alone write in cursive. It's like, oh, because it flows. I'm like, meanwhile, I'm driving a pencil into the paper, ripping through it. I'm like, flows my ass. Fuck you, you right-handed communist bastard. I'm like, geez, like, being a lefty sucked. And as soon as we hit like high school and they were like, well, you don't have to write cursive anymore. I'm like, praise to the loud. I'm like, cursive is such a right-hander's tool to oppress the left-handed man.
It is. And then you could never use like erasable pens because you would just
nope.
Erase
all comes
it immediately
off on your
off.
hand. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, what do you look like such a dummy for? What have you been playing around in ink? And I'm like, well, I had to write a paper in pen. Bullshit.
Damn. So sorry.
Let's keep going. I'm too upset. I don't want to keep talking about left-handedness. All right. So the next thing is universally loved by lefties, righties, and ambidextrous people. This is something that's a little bit more thinking outside the box. It's kind of like a, hey, I wish this still existed because I didn't have one then and there was no purpose for me to have one then, but it'll make me almost want to be living in the 90s now so that I could experience this product. Because I sometimes just want to be left alone. I want to be unreachable. I broke my cell phone once, like 10 years ago, and I didn't get another one for 3 days. And it was very liberating. Like, to know that, like, I told everyone, like, on Facebook through my computer that my phone broke and I won't have it for X amount of days. And so everyone knew they couldn't reach me. And that was really nice. But obviously, there's some situations where you want people to reach you in case of emergencies, or maybe someone wants to do something and then it's a really quick opportunity and they need to reach you now. So let's find the balance in the world and let's talk about beepers and pagers.
Oh, it's on the list. Yeah. All right.
Beepers and pagers. So like having a pager,
it's a good one,
would have been awesome.
Thing.
Yeah, now it was a big status thing. Like, because first of all, it was pretty cool to have beepers. But then like a year or two later, pagers came out and you could. So beepers, for those of you who don't know, beepers would say it flashed the phone number of someone trying to reach you. That's all it was. It was call this number. So you knew who. Yeah. So it was just like, okay, call someone at that number and I'll get back to them. A pager would be actually a very small, like a third of a tweet long, where someone could actually type out text to you.
It was like the original, kind of like the first text, but
yeah.
And didn't you have to, was there a world where pagers, you had to like tell your message to somebody and they would type it out to the person with the pager?
Yeah.
Isn't
So
that what it was? Yeah.
I used to babysit for someone and the guy, for the couple, the guy had a pager. And so I'd call this line and it was a human I'd talk to. And I'm like, hey, I just need you to page this person. Please call home. No emergency. And like, she's like, okay. And I've sent your message. And like, it was someone literally like typing out, but you talked to someone, they typed it out and sent the message from wherever they were working. So I would love that because then people wouldn't abuse like just texting for no reason and stuff like that. Like, not that it's not nice to hear texting, but some people get a little crazy with it. Or just like, I don't know, it sifts through the over convenience. It's important and it's convenient, but it's not overly convenient that it becomes annoying. So beepers and pagers,
and they were cool.
beautiful
They were
products.
cool to wear on your belt loop.
Yes, unlike a
If
cell
you had
phone.
a pager, a beeper on your belt.
Yes.
That was,
so
yeah.
explain
It was
that.
either
Pagers, beepers, rad to wear on your belt and show people you had them. Cell phone on your belt, you are weird, or you better be in like construction or something where you use your hands and you need it easily accessible but out of the way. Pager,
So either
like
you were super rich or a drug dealer.
yeah. Either one makes
it was
you
the
look
burner
cool.
before the burner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this one. The picture of this one here says 3, 2, 1, happy 2000, everyone, on the pager.
Wow. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, pager. That was a thing. That was on my list. It's a good one. Let's go with. I had this. It was cool. It was when I was young. I feel like this was out when we were in elementary school, but everybody had to have one.
Okay.
It's I think in a lot of people they would consider this very 90s. It'd be one of the first, definitely in the first 10 things they think of if they lived through it. It was a fad. It brought color into our lives. It really didn't serve any purpose, honestly, except for it was fun for like 2 months.
That being said, it did not serve any purpose.
Yeah, it was cool for like 2 months, and everybody had one, and then we just never had them again.
Okay.
The slap bracelet.
Wow.
So the bracelet, it was had some kind of aluminum or something in it because you could definitely cut yourself if it ripped. So it was like, yeah. But they would have styles. It was very, a lot of bright colors. Let's see if I can pull some up. But you'd slap it onto your wrist, and it would fold itself around really quickly. Here, images. Yeah, here we go. But you could get, I think I remember having, I don't even remember. I spelled it, slap bracelet. I'm going to cut that out.
Words are hard.
But yeah, a lot of like animal print, leopard print, zebra print.
Sure.
I remember New Kids on the Block definitely had. It was in the era of New Kids on the Block because you could get one of those that said New Kids on the Block on it. But yeah, you'd try to collect them for no reason. The 90s was an era of collecting things that shouldn't have had value but did to people. I guess that's just the nature of collecting.
Wow, look at those.
Yeah, just super bright, really uncomfortable to wear. I mean, I remember having one at school for the first time and slapping it on and wearing it at school and being like, this sucks to wear, but it was cool.
Now,
really enjoyed it.
I definitely had some. But for some reason, the only time I'm thinking of when I got them was either A, you traded in some arcade tickets for one, another 90s concept, arcade tickets as tender, or waiting for like the Scholastic Book Fair and seeing what rad ones they had at the Scholastic Book Fair and taking my money that my mom gave me for books and blowing it on non-book shit like slap bracelets and cool
or
erasers.
gnome erasers.
Yeah. Exactly. So sorry, Mom. Probably used the money on slap bracelets. Still can't read, but look fashionable AF at the time.
I'd love to see a demonstration of the slap bracelet.
Yeah, and then just seeing
there it is, snaps around, boom.
Wow.
So I think I'm pretty
ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure those became illegal in schools too, because kids would just sit around all day and just.
Yeah, it was the fidget spinner before fidget
on and
spinners.
Off. Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
But very 90s. I mean, I think you'd have a hard time finding those today. I mean, there's got to be some in a vintage store or whatever, but very cool.
All right. For my next one, since you were so quick to do something like cool and athletic with your rollerblades, I'm going to take a page from that and go into something that, you know what? Damn it all, I wasn't an athletic kid. But aside from fifth quarter modified soccer, I've tried to broaden my horizons. And if this thing can basically lie to people and make me be able to do something I could never do without it, God bless the people at Nerf. Because I'm not talking about Nerf guns. I'm talking about the Nerf Vortex.
The Nerf football?
The Nerf Vortex
Is that
football.
What it was?
Yep. It was a small football that had a tail on the end. So no matter how dumb bumbly you were as a human being with zero dexterity or coordination. You threw this bad boy and watch that majestic spin as if you were freaking John Elway.
I would go like 40 yards. Easy.
I can't remember if it was Elway or Montana, but the commercial was that person sitting in the like in the stadium and then going back for a pass and throwing it and the ball going literally out of the stadium. Because if I can throw that thing 30 yards, what can an NFL quarterback do with it? But like, for a kid who never, and probably even for even a 40-year-old kid that I am today, never really understanding the mechanics of throwing, be it a baseball, a football, anything, it was awesome because I got to play like catch and stuff. And like you could be far away from your friends and play cool games of 500. And you didn't always have to be a kid catching and stuff like that. So like the Vortex was awesome. And then you had the Vortex Howler when it had the little whistles on it. So then when it, made sounds. So yeah, it was a really fun change the outdoor hanging out game because they were readily available. They were cheap. Only one kid in a group had to have one. And yeah, you could feign athleticism when you had no right being able to say that you could throw a football. So that was nice. I like the Vortex Howler.
Borderline uncatchable sometimes though. It's really
That's
hard
fine.
to
it's about throwing. It's not about catching.
Yeah, I know.
It's about throwing.
It was one of those. Yeah, just play a game where we just chuck this as far as we can.
Yep.
That was great. I'll keep it in the sports world.
Okay.
One of the best games, I think, board games you'd call it, but it's more of an action game.
More like BORED games. Oh, Hot Shots basketball.
Yes, Hot Shot basketball was so cool.
Man,
it was right up there with Crossfire in terms of like how cool something was in a commercial. But I'll pull this up. But Hot Shot was cool as shit. My buddy Brett reminded me of this one because I think I had a version of it, but we was kind of a bar game, really, or
it's like a tabletop game ish.
Yeah. So you had a little flicker where you put the little tiny basketball on it and you just flick it up and
spring loaded
hoop.
Spring loaded. Yeah. Like arcade basketball, but on a very small scale. And
like Papa-Shot, mini Papa-Shot, but it was really fun. And I think it would go back and forward.
Yep. Because there was
had to get that
shots.
Shot down. Yep.
I think it even had an audio.
Any good parlor game.
Or no, maybe it didn't have audio. Maybe just like when you made it, it made a fake crowd roar sound. Like
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had them. And if I'm not mistaken, there it is. We had them. And if I'm not mistaken, you could, I thought you could link two up. Maybe I think
you're right. Yeah. You might be right.
I thought you could
put them
link
back
two
to back.
Up. Yeah. But yeah, you had a counter and there was a high score on there. Your system would have a high score. And until, and it was legit, except at my age, I wanted to be like, I wonder how many I can do if I cheat. And you just hit the thing in the basket for the 30 seconds and see how high the score you could get. And then I'm like, yay, I ruined high score. So you take out the battery and reset it. But Hot Shots was definitely legit. We got it for Christmas. I know vividly that we got 2 of them for Christmas, but I feel like one broke pretty quick and then we were stuck with the one, but we made that one last for years. And I would say for kids who like to move on to other toys and stuff outside of video games, Hot Shots stayed pretty legit, like for a while.
It was just very exciting. It was fun to play a game. I mean, without being a video game that had that kind of energy.
Yeah.
And it had like the competitiveness of, like sports in a way. And it matched, I mean, a lot of bedrooms too, growing up, we had the mini basketball hoop too. I remember I had one in my room, like the little Nerf basketball hoop that you put on your closet door.
Sure.
That was a lot of tiny basketball going on in the 90s.
Big time.
A lot of miniature
Not
versions.
to be confused with paper footballs, which really also had a really good.
Wow.
I mean, and really the Vortex was small. So we loved taking real sports and making them tiny.
Making it really small.
That was a big thing.
I had
the
little
90s.
hockey, the little table hockey. I still have one in my house right now. The little tiny players and
there you go
on the sticks, rod hockey. Yeah.
When we do our 80s draft, what about electronic footballs?
Yeah. But my mom bought me that for Christmas one year, kind of ironically, but I played it way too much. Like the little dashes that just go across the electronic one like that. Yeah. Let's do one more round, our Mr. Irrelevance, and then we'll do our honorable mentions where we just list things that be proud
Sure.
of.
All right. If we're going to do one more, let me make sure I'm not missing anything that deserves to be jumping the gun. You know what? I'm going to go for a product I never had, but something that everyone knows about because it deserves to be drafted, not an honorable mention. Folks, that is the Nickelodeon alarm clock. The zany looking, wonky splash of crazy 90s. It looked weird. It had multiple colors, the classic Nickelodeon lime greens, oranges, and purples. Nothing looked more 90s than this product. If you can pull it up for the visual, because that's a major
Let me
part of it.
see.
There is no
It's called
shape.
the Nickelodeon alarm clock.
I would just call it Nickelodeon alarm clock. I believe that it had a specific name, but I can't recall exactly. But I know that you could set the alarm to a couple different sounds.
Yep.
And one of the alarm sounds was that going, Nick, Nickelodeon. Talk about waking up in a good mood. If you could wake up to that. But again, I don't know that I personally was with like hanging out with anyone who actually had one, but that thing looked so awesome. And as a kid, I mean, they marketed that bad boy so well. Nickelodeon was the place for kids to watch TV, so they could run that commercial ad nauseum. Man, that thing looked dope.
Well, I had actually just alarm clock written on my list because that was my way of listening to music. Like it was a clock radio that I
Yeah.
had probably in like 4th grade, and I brought it all the way through college. Just this little kind of white, but it had a radio alarm, so I could have it set to like 93Q, or then I would eventually had it set to the Nerve 95.1, 95.5 for alternative rock. You know, but that's how I would go to bed. I would put like a sleep timer. It was like very sophisticated, so I could like listen to music at night. But that was my only source of music until I got a radio that had a cassette deck in it. But alarm clock was huge. It was kind of a vital way to have entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah. Listening to
Plus, there was
FM
no cell
radio.
phones for alarms. Yeah, like you literally needed it for your alarm to wake up.
And
You had to
like you
set it.
said, not to mention, there was no we weren't digital. It was an analog. You had to get your tuner perfectly to have it come in. And if you could get no feedback, no scratching or interference on an FM channel, you were set. That's why I probably never moved mine off of the Nerve.
I remember when I was in college, I set my alarm clock across the room so I'd have to get up and get it. And the song I hated the most, for some reason, whatever station came in Hamilton, New York, it was like some kind of like adult contemporary or pop kind of, and it was Sheryl Crow, like "Soak Up the Sun," and it was like I want to soak up. It was like I hated that song so much because all it did was remind me of waking up all the time. But that was kind of the that was all we had for waking up. I mean, you just had to do it. Wake me up inside.
Not yet,
all right,
friend.
Let's go.
We didn't have Evanescence waking us up aggressively.
All right, so this to me is what the 90s is all about. I never had one. I thought it was cool. I don't know why. I didn't know why my family didn't have one because it made sense. It seemed like the easiest thing. I would see it advertised on commercials during American Gladiators, you know? So it was like, oh my God, everything in my life is awesome right now. It's Sunday morning. I just had free breakfast at my house. American Gladiators is on. Baywatch is going to be on. And this thing's on TV as a commercial. I want this product. It seems like you can only buy on TV, and it probably costs like $1 million, and it would just make all of our lives better. It was the Flowbee haircutting system. I gotta pull this up the commercial, but
I remember it now that you say that. But I'll spoiler alert, that was not on my list. The Flowbee.
Yeah. So it was a vacuum that would suck your hair into it and then cut it. So you'd like set it different lengths. Of course, nobody had it because it was stupid as shit. But I didn't know that. I thought it was awesome. So I was like, it's so easy. Look at this. I could cut my own hair if I had this. It was really 90s was all about. I mean, QVC was out, but the made for TV stuff that came out during that time.
My
Even more, introducing the Flowbee Precision Haircutting System. Get that freshly sucked hair you've always dreamed of without leaving the house. You can suck your whole family, mom,
see, somebody's
sister,
okay. All right,
and watch
okay.
Uncle Steve suck himself.
This is funny. All
Looking
right.
good, Steve.
This is clearly a
Trying to
parody.
look fly as
But this
fuck,
is real
but
footage.
not
This
get
is real
fucked?
footage.
Flowbee. So easy to use, even the mentally challenged can do it. Yeah, you the man, Rudy.
All right.
Oh my god.
Well, there was a real commercial. I was like, this is weird. Okay. But that's the actual device. It would just you'd use a mirror and you would just hold this thing. And I don't know how it would have like 4 different length settings that you could use for it.
I don't know how it doesn't just remind you of Wayne's World with the suck cut.
Yeah, it certainly does suck.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah, it was great. I just remember like just seeing that commercial. And it also, I mean, that era of just TV advertisements and or as seen on TV stuff, like it was huge.
Yeah, black and
even
white.
before,
Are you
like,
sick and
ShamWow.
tired of this?
Yep.
And it shows someone doing
Yep.
something no one's ever done.
Yep. You had like the this was on my list, the Juice Tiger. That was a huge infomercial. It's like, hey, do you want to turn $65 on produce into like half a glass of juice?
Yeah. The Ronco.
That you can really enjoy.
The Ronco rotisserie, the just set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
It can cook a rotisserie chicken. You can cook 9 quarter-pound hamburgers. That's remember I'm always saying.
There was that one guy who was in every single infomercial with the sweater. I'm going to just type in infomercial guy from 90s and just see if it comes up.
See, I'm thinking of like Ron Popeil and that stupid Ronco.
Mike Levy is who I was thinking of. He always wore the sweater. There was that Matthew Lesko, the information they don't want you to know kind of thing, the question mark suit. There was OxyClean dude, and then there was this guy.
Yeah,
Amazing Discoveries,
Billy Mays.
It was called.
Billy Mays and the OxyClean, rest in peace.
The show was called Amazing Discoveries. It was on in the 90s, probably before American Gladiators was on. Mm-hmm. But it was essentially a weekend infomercial. Every week there'd be something about either a nonstick pan,
amazing,
or some kind of like fitness thing. But yeah, this guy right there.
Oh wow,
in the sweater.
And everything only took 4 easy payments. No difficult payments. Not a single one would be complicated. It's 4 easy payments. All you have to do, you get this bonus whatever, and all you gotta do is pay shipping and handling. Mm-hmm. I love a good handling fee.
All right. I didn't toss in, these are just extra things, but I didn't toss in because I already said CD writer, but the Sony Discman CD in my fanny pack.
Sure.
That I would use to mow lawns. Anti-skip, huge. Pogs. I went through a hardcore summer of collecting Pogs. Played it maybe twice. Didn't really understand it, but just thought I had to have them. Labyrinths, I think, were really big. I don't know if like every home or your grandma's house always seemed to have like a little labyrinth. Yeah.
Very
like
hard.
A little marble. Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
Like, everybody had one. Yeah. Almost. Yeah. Really difficult. Just because we mentioned on pause before, but t-shirts, like we said, big dogs or no fear, but I liked every t-shirt that had like something ripping through it from the back to the front, like some kind of either sports mascot or animal that was like ripping through your shirt, a 3D shirt, basically.
Yeah.
Cargo pants, fashion, huge. Love me some cargo pants.
Big time. Could carry everything. Really ruled out. Cargo pants probably pushed out the fanny pack.
Yep. Snapple. Snapple seemed to have a huge moment in the 90s.
Oh man, with Wendy, the Snapple lady, and Snapple facts.
Yeah.
Dude, I want my drink to tell me a fun fact. And then Snapple literally outright told people, they're like, yeah, some of them are real, some aren't. You guess. And you're like, what the hell? Now I have to wonder if the Snapple fact is factual or Snapple fiction.
Seemed like they always put flavors together that nobody wanted, like pink lemonade mango or something like that. Never really a delicious beverage, but a lot of sugar.
Add a lot of sugar.
Really hot. Creepy crawlers was a big deal. A little bake your own gelatin things that you couldn't eat, but everybody probably did. TRL, Blockbuster, and the entertainment world. Blockbuster membership card was a big deal. But we talked about that. Goosebumps. So those were some of the other things I was considering.
I had video rentals, record stores, literally going to the mall and
like
just
going
to the CD store and flipping through CDs, like going to the mall in general. But yeah, I mean,
the security device on a CD.
When we both you could ask your parents to drop you off at the mall for a few hours, but then when you started driving, that was definitely a destination of, what do you want to do? I don't know. I have nothing, no plans. Let's go to the mall. So you're playing an arcade. You're looking through CDs. You're looking at the posters. Yeah, dude, going to a CD store, like, you could just window shop in a CD store forever. Record Town, or which eventually got bought out by FYE. Like, remember, they had the systems where you had the headphones and you could scan the barcode and listen to like 30-second clips of any track. Like, that was rad.
Dude, how about going to Borders and just listening to a whole album that they had out there?
Yeah.
I remember buying
You'd have to go to
CDs by-
Syracuse. You'd have to drive out to Syracuse to get that type of attention.
2 stories of media.
Yeah.
CDs.
And now
VHS.
terribly irrelevant. Probably
Yep.
Borders is probably gone by now.
I would think so.
Auburn
I
had
think
the
Barnes and Noble is like the only main bookstore.
Auburn had the
around
baby
still.
brother Walden Books, which was just books, and I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
But I
remember getting like gift certificates to Record Town, but it was just a little coin. It was like a tiny little, like, they actually had, like, gift certificates were like physical things.
Yeah.
They weren't
not
cards.
gift cards. There was no gift cards.
Yeah,
There were gift certificates. They got written out.
But I tell kids now that work at Wegmans, I was like, well, when my first job at Taco Bell, guess how much I made? No, way less, $5.15 an hour. And if I worked for 3 hours, then I could buy a CD.
Yep.
That was our economy.
These are the things
then.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So some other things I had, a few food items that I didn't go for. Flintstone push-ups, because there was nothing greater
push-ups?
than getting maybe from the Schwan man to to deliver some Flintstone push-ups, because all the kids you can keep your ice cream, but sometimes I just want a tube of sherbet. So, I
remember Ninja Turtle on a stick. Ice cream?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was good, yeah.
See, living outside the city, ice cream people didn't come out to the town.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that. So the Schwan man would make his rounds, and maybe if we were, good kids, mom would buy us some Flintstone push-ups. A nice little snack item that I was a big fan of, but I don't think they were ever popular. PB Crisps. They were made by the folks at Planters, and they were they were shaped like a peanut. And it was more of like a graham cracker crust, but in the middle, there was peanut butter, similar to like a Reese's. So, yeah, they were called PB Crisps. If you Google it, you might recognize it. And then one other food item, because we didn't actually address cereal. And obviously, there's nothing more 90s in general than kids eating cereal.
Cereal, yeah.
I went for Waffle Crisp, a real dark horse in the delicious, unnecessarily sugary cereals. It tasted like waffles and syrup. I mean,
that was big on the scene when it first came out. Yeah.
What a delicious combo. Definitely
on the heels of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah. But I think it beat out like the easy follow up, like French Toast Crunch. I'm like, I want Waffle Crisp, more shaped like honeycomb cereal. And then one other item I had is the Super Crocodile Mile. You run, you slide, you hit the bump, and take a dive. And it's like you have the pad.
It's like a leveled up slip and slide.
Exactly. You have a pad that you're riding on, and you go and you slide down, and then you literally hit a bump to go into a pool, theoretically. However,
through a crocodile's mouth.
However, if you're at our house where the front yard slopes down to the backyard on the sides, you could put it that way, and you could easily get enough speed to launch yourself well off over the pool and onto the painful ground below.
That was painful. I remember we had one too, and 2 summers in a row, I was running to Crocodile Mile and stepped on a bee and got the stinger stuck in my foot. That would have killed you probably. But it was like 3 days after each one of just putting my foot in Epsom salts and not being able to enjoy summer just till the stinger came out. 2 years in a row, I'm pretty sure.
That's weird.
But yeah,
that's really weird.
That.
But
or just a sprinkler. Remember just a sprinkler? You hook up to a hose. That's fun. What do you guys want to do today? The sprinkler? Can we use the sprinkler?
Yeah. Oh, you don't have a sprinkler? Hose. That's also for the frustrated kid who throws down their broken plastic crappy water gun in the water fight and has been getting trounced by super soakers for the last half hour. They grab the hose and go, all bets are off. So,
right, well, I think we nailed it.
Yeah,
I think the 90s.
That is your draft. That's your typical 7-round draft. But we projected that.
I mean-
We thought it would go 6 to 8 rounds. I think that was what we thought it might
We'll
go.
see. All the pundits out there are going to have their points of view, but this is what's about. We're going to make our team better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now we will. I'm going to join you on this outro and not play the music at all, and just add it in post.
Nice.
So let's hit that theme song. What's his name from the 90s? Casey Kasem. Hey, Casey Kasem. I'd like to send in a request to my friend Jeff, who can't hear theme songs. Will you play for him Age of Inconvenience by Fair City Fire, the strangely familiar podcast theme song? Coming at you. 3, 2, 1.